Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of At the Movies with William Fletcher. As per usual, I am your host, William Fletcher, and I'm joined by my usual partner in crime, Mr. Harry Jobson.
I'm here, sorry, I'm eating an Oreo. That was poor timing on my half. I got my mouth full, but yeah.
And we're here to conclude our Alien retrospective with a look at the Alien versus Predator films and the Alien prequels films, which are Prometheus and Alien Covenant, to tie into this week's release of Alien Romulus. I had seen. Alien versus Predator. We'll just get right into it because I've got some feelings. It's. Excuse me, you all right? Harry?
Yeah, no, sorry. It's awful film, but continue.
So, I mean, this is quite common where a franchise sort of runs out of ideas. And so...
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Godzilla vs. Kong. Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
They wanted to do, at one point, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from Evil Dead was an idea they wanted to do. And then Sam Raimi said, no, you're not doing that. Because, he has respect for his character. And so they decided to do an Alien versus Predator film, a crossover to Fox studio franchises, and to put them together and to create a film that, a crossover. And, crossovers, we see them now. I mean, Marvel, that's what Marvel is. That's just what the MCU has been from the beginning. It's just a massive crossover, but they were, of course, planned to be to cross over at some point. Whereas Alien vs. Predator, it was very much...
Yeah, it's one of those where the two IPs, you find out they're in the same world, and you're like, why? And it makes no sense. And...
yeah. I mean, to talk about the first Alien versus Predator, I mean, I don't like either of these films. These two films we're going to talk about straight up.
Suck. They're awful.
Yeah, I was going into these films, to Alien versus Predator, expecting it to be bad. And, it's bad. But it's not, completely bad. There's a few moments that I was like, okay, that's actually not too bad. There's, some decent ideas that are just executed very, very poorly. But
how does that woman, yeah, okay. Sorry.
But I will also say it's not good. The first Alien vs. Predator is not good. It's
awful.
And the thing is, at their base level, I think the Alien vs. Predator films should have simply, they shouldn't have been worse than just dumb fun. In theory, watching the Alien and Predator fight isn't, it should be fun, if nothing else. It might be, the film might have a terrible plot, the characters might be completely nothing, and all that. I kind of expect that. But at least when you get to Alien versus Predator, the actual fights, they should be good. And they're not. They're really...
Also...
quite terribly handled.
I don't even know if we're going to spend time talking about character in this film, because, is Predator a good guy? Kind of, but not really, but kind of the good guy in the situation. And how are you going to make Predator a good guy if you've seen the Predator film? Dude, I feel like the two IPs, so if you look at Alien and you look at Predator, amazing. Alien, great film. Predator, I love Predator. Great film.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Such a cool visual display using the infrared camera. You've got Arnie being a badass, and it's quite isolated within the jungle, right?
Yeah.
Where Predator would work best. Alien, isolated within the spaceship. Badass Sigourney Weaver. Cool alien that's picking them off one by one. Right?
Yeah.
or xenomorph or whatever. I'm just gonna keep saying alien.
Yeah.
This is like if someone took the idea for an epic rap battle of history and made it a film, and it sucks. It looks awful. Like it does. It
Oh
looks
my
like it was
god.
made for direct to TV. Like the CGI and the effects in this film.
Oh, that was one of the things I noticed is we complained about the CGI in Alien Cubed, but that also has the excuse of that was from the early 90s when CGI
Yeah,
wasn't like this was made early 2000, like more close to mid 2000s. And not to say CGI was like amazing then, but it's like you do
but you had
have
like Spy
10
Kids
years.
3D.
But you have
Like
10 years worth of. I mean, Spider Man 2 came out that same year, and Spider Man 2 looks fantastic. Like
oh no, this
CGI in
is
Spider Man
far from
2.
a. This is a let's throw 20 million at it and see what they can do and make like a cool action movie out of it because we have two really strong IPs. But if you get someone like Ridley Scott who has the passion for filmmaking, and we'll get to
Mm.
him when it comes to the prequels, which the only redeeming quality of those films is how they look. This film, one, it looks fucking awful. Like if you've ever seen, sorry for swearing, but if you look at like a Disney direct to TV like High School Musical or like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, it's giving me those vibes. And obviously, like it is better than that. But there are parts where you catch it and you're like, that is the goofiest animation I've ever seen. And outside of that, the like you're gonna deal especially and specifically with the Alien franchise, you're going to deal with a crude
Mm.
cast of people that are just dumb.
Yeah.
That are just dumb as all fuck. And they're dumb. Like, oh no, Alien movie, guess what? The crew is dumb. And they get double crossed and like it's this and it's that and it's like, oh, well, what the premise of the film is that Predator has always been there and it's a trial ritual to fight the aliens, but then there were too many aliens, so Predator killed them all. That's the film.
Yeah, that's the
Like
that's the that's
that's the driving plot factor. It is definitely Alien versus Predator. But Alien, the film Alien, sets up none of that. Neither does the prequels. The film Predator sets up none of that. So we're just being
yeah.
given all this exposition where they're trying to figure out like these mummy ruin sacrifice things. I just think that it was such a like and it's so easy for me to sit here and critique, but this is a film podcast. I'm going to. I could write a better Alien vs Predator film than that. That was horrific. I don't think they had writers watch the original source material. I actually don't.
Yeah, so this was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who I'm not
What
sure
has he
how
directed?
familiar. He has directed the Resident Evil films, the live action ones from like the
Okay, well, I'm not super into.
He directed
Oh,
the
I haven't
Mortal
seen it.
Kombat film from the 90s, the 1995 Mortal Kombat. Event Horizon he did. He
Monster
most recently
Hunter
did
or what?
Monster Hunter is his recent film. Yeah, he's
Is that based off the video game franchise, Monster Hunter World? And I've never
Ah,
seen it
I never put that together. That
because Resident
actually,
Evil is also a game.
yeah, it is based off the video game. So yeah, he clearly likes taking IPs and making his own
Sure.
versions of them and
He made the
ruining them. Yeah,
Pompeii film.
he apparently did make the Pompeii film. Yes, he did. Um,
That's
yeah.
insane.
So he's not a good filmmaker. Not at all. And it's he's a big fan of the Alien films, though which is weird because this film was so terrible. But from my understanding of the Resident Evil films, they're all ripping off the Alien films. Like one is ripping off the first Alien, one is ripping off the second one, and so on. Yeah, it's
Which once you get to the
man, it's
third, surely you stop ripping him off, right?
well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, this is not a good film. It's the fight sequences. I just want to talk about the fight sequences. They're in this terrible slow motion, right? Where there's like one bit that sticks out to me is the Predator has the alien and he swings the alien through like a pillar. and it's so weird. It's like in slow motion, but it just doesn't look slow motion. Like it just looks like they're just moving really slowly, and it's so weird. It's it's man. It is. This is a look, and we talked about this in last week's episode about how the characters in the Alien films aren't that amazing. Like in the first Alien film, I don't really think the characters are that great, but like the characters in this film, I can't even remember any of the characters. Like, I at least remember characters from the first couple Alien films. Like, I remember, I mean, Ripley, obviously, but I remember Ian Holmes' character, Ash, who's the android. I remember Bishop, who's the other android.
Yeah.
Like, I remember those characters, even if I don't think they're amazing, but I don't remember any. And I watched this film, like, 2 days ago. Like, I watched
Yeah, I
it
literally watched it on Sunday.
I don't even understand. I think I watched it Sunday as well, and I was so depressed while watching it that I was like, "Oh, this is just the 11th, yeah, 2 days, yeah, Sunday." I just felt so depressed about it. I was like, "This is terrible. This shouldn't be bad. Like, this should be like good, but it's not." I cannot overstate how terrible it is. There's the visual effects look really bad. It's just not a well-made film. And what's crazy about it is that, I mean, not only is is the first film's bad, the second film somehow out even worse.
I'm not gonna look. Paul W.S. Anderson, you've made more films than I will ever make, bigger films than I will ever make, and probably better films than I could. Still gonna say they're shit though. And
yeah, you
if
could
we
still
look
criticize
at your track record, it like, is there one film here that you think would have over a 60 on Rotten Tomatoes? And I understand that's not a.
That's not. Oh,
Like,
are you checking the films on Rotten Tomatoes? Is that why you've been kind of silent? You've just been like, of all these films.
well, no. I'm checking the films on. I'm checking his filmography on Google because I'm literally when you just Google search, it tells you what it's got on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. I know.
I'm seeing a lot of 30s and 20s. Monster Hunter had a 44. Event Horizon had a 35. Resident Evil Apocalypse had 19. Yeah, actually, before we're not going to dive into the director too deeply, but can you guess what Alien vs Predator had on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go.
There are better films with worse scores than this.
I'm gonna go like a 49, maybe 50.
No, dude, 22.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I was just the way you were phrasing it. I'm like, is this gonna be like?
No, I just genuinely think some of those really shitty Adam Sandler Netflix comedies are better than this film. Because at least they're only like an hour and you can just get over them and there's like a laugh or two in this.
Yeah. I'm just looking up his films on IMDb. Like, pretty much every film here has a 5 point something average. Like, most of these are 5 point something. There's a couple that go beyond a 6, but nothing beyond a 6. Like, nothing goes to like 7.
That is ridiculous to me. And then, okay, look, Alien vs Predator. Fun concept, fun epic rap battles of history, like Darth Vader vs Hitler. But I don't. It doesn't. It never warranted a feature film, and it never warrants. It just feels like it downgrades the IP. It's fun. I will give it this: the PS and Xbox games of this film were fun. They were fun video games. But make it a video game series. This works so much better as a video game series in a Mortal Kombat style-esque, whether you can choose to play as the protagonist of Alien or Predator and you play on either side of the core story and arc. That would be awesome. Dude, this film's like a 4. I'll give it a 4 because it kind of was fun. The action, with an Alien vs Predator film, you are going to have at least a minute or two of like, oh, cool, they're using their powers and they're fighting each other. That's fun. Like,
no, yeah, definitely.
everyone,
there are moments.
Everyone wants to see
where
big monkey versus big lizard. Everyone wants to see alien versus predator. It is quite cool, and it'd be awesome as like a 10-minute YouTube video.
Yeah, this does not warrant a 90-minute runtime. Like, this does not warrant a 50-minute, an hour and a half runtime. It really doesn't. I'm just reading here. It was inspired by a comic book, which does make a lot of sense. But it's not good. I give it a 3 out of 10. I don't really know what for, but like it's not. Yeah, I will say this though: it looks like a masterpiece compared to the second Alien vs Predator. Which is, I think, this second Alien vs Predator film is a genuine contender for worst film I've ever covered on this podcast. Like, I know hyperbole to that state. I hated this film so much. Like, even more than I hated the first Alien vs Predator. First of all, I just want to talk about the name of this film. This film is called AVPR: Aliens vs Predator Requiem. And I think that might be the worst film title I have ever seen in my life. Like, first of all, it's way too clunky. Like, that's too many syllables in a title. Like, a film title should not be that long. Okay? Like, that's a really long title. But it doesn't. Well, Requiem is like a religious thing. Like, it's like I don't know how to show. It's like it's sort of a mass for dead people, basically. I don't know what it has to do with Alien versus Predator, because it doesn't. They should have just called it Aliens versus Predators. Like, that would have been a better title. And that would have made sense as a title. But yeah, I hated this film. I feel like you sounded like you disagree with me.
No, I completely agree. This is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. I was just sort of getting all geeked out about how fucking dumb, 1, all the high school stuff is, 2, the way the film ends, 3, the way the film begins, 4, the hunters and the child, 5, there's also a monster. Let me check the window, Dad. The fucking, like, and like, he's fine, and I'm like, it also seems like they're both nerfed as fuck in this film. Like Xenomorph seems a lot weaker than in the Alien franchise, which seems weird.
Yeah.
And it's to make Predator the good guy, but his name is literally Predator. Like, are we gonna man, I also like the whole high school bullies. Yeah, let's put them in a pool. Like,
oh my god.
And they all seem also so fine with, like, their best friends just getting nerfed. Like, I'm not super into gore, but it just seems like that's why I don't love it. Like, I have a distaste for that sort of heavy gore, especially when it's like, which is more of a prequels thing.
Yeah.
But because the gore in this, it's so disconnecting that it's not a problem to me.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool or Wolverine, or that it's like so outly disconnecting, it's not too big of a deal.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, we need to like, just from a narrative perspective. I know we speak about filmmaking, more so from a physical, and we usually just give a bit of an overview of the film and what we think about. But if we're gonna talk about the actual, like, this film has zero structure, like none. It's just like a series of events where Predator and Alien are fighting across different scenes, but there's no real structure to the film. And 2, I love how they're just like, oh, we escaped. And then America's like, "Yep, kill everyone in the town instantly with a nuke. Just nuke it. Nuke it. Why
Yeah,
not? Nuke the
it's
town.
mad.
Kill everyone."
That's I mean, that's not my. That's part of my problem. One of the problems I had early on is the main character is a terrible character to follow because he's not a likable character.
Oh, he's a
He's like
douchebag.
he he's at his like he works at like a pizza place and he's delivering a pizza. Which, by the way, I did not know that Cricket from Always Sunny was in this film. Like, I did not know that
Yeah,
Cricket was.
right.
I thought I was like, is that? It looks like him, and it is. It's bloody Cricket. Um, but anyway, yeah, he's at his the main kid. If you haven't seen it, which please don't. I'm just there's a scene very early on where he's working at his job. He's working at a pizza place, and look, we've all worked shit first jobs. Okay, we've all worked jobs like we've worked in fast food or retail, like just crap jobs that we don't like.
Yeah.
It's not embarrassing though. And the main character is throwing a fucking hissy fit because he doesn't want to deliver a pizza. He doesn't want to do his job, and then he
There's
delivers.
no job
He delivers
beneath you as a human being. Like, work's work.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to eat. Like, what are you talking?
Yeah, it's like working a pizza, like at a pizza place, is it's actually quite a respectable job. Like you were
Respectable.
helping feed other people.
But also,
It's
like,
not. I don't
everyone's
see the
got to
problem with
work.
it.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. You got to earn money. You know, like you've got to have a job, and it's like you can't just go into your job and be like, "Nah, I don't want to do that delivery." It's like it's your fucking job. You're a delivery boy. Anyway, so he delivers this pizza to his to these people's houses, and they start making fun of him, and then he says, "Well, I know who ordered the sausage lovers," and I'm like, oh, that's just really quite immature.
yeah.
Like, that's just really immature. It's like, come on, man. Like, it's just
Also
weirdly
awful. It's just like awful
it's just
screenwriting.
like
Like,
it's first
dialogue.
of
What
all,
is it?
and it doesn't endear us to this character because this is our main character. And this isn't a film where you can really write an unlikable protagonist. Like, we have to like this character, so we want to see them live. Like, writing them to be a dick is like, well, I just want to see them get killed then, Like, it's like you can't do that in this kind of film because it's just like, well, I want to see them die. But yeah, I on the whole, this film is just, it's terrible. It's terribly structured. It's terribly written. It's terribly acted. The fights aren't even good. Like it's just I can't I don't understand what happened here. I genuinely do not understand what happened here. But it's terrible.
This is one of the worst films I've watched. I've seen worse. Like, I've watched Spider-Man Far From Home. I've watched Spider-Man Far From Home. No, but like,
it is one of the worst films I have ever seen.
Give me three positives about the film right now, William. Look, I want to hear three positives.
The novelty of seeing Alien versus Predator.
The fact that they thought it was funny and that it was good enough to make a sequel, which I think is funny within itself. I will give the film. It's one of those movies that you watch because it's so bad that it's funny.
I don't know if it is that. Like, it's bad.
But it's not I think it falls bad. In that. It's like it's not just genuinely hard to watch.
I think The Room is like, it's a bad film, but it's fun to watch The Room. Like, The Room is a terrible film, but it's a hilarious watch. Whereas this is just like,
oh yeah, the rural Colorado town.
I will never watch this film again. That's probably the best. That's probably the most succinct point I can make. I will never watch this film again. Which, there's lots of films that I probably won't watch again, but like, this is legitimately amongst the very worst films I have ever seen. And that's, that's really saying a lot. There's like, Yeah. I give it a 1 out of 10, which would put this. Sorry, what did you give this film? Sorry, Harry.
A 1.
This would put this as the lowest rated film I've ever done, except we did the second 50 Shades of Grey film, and we had 3 of us on it, and I think we all gave it 1 out of 10. That's slightly worse, but this is like the worst, the worst film, basically. Like, this is tied
50
for
Shades of
the
Grey is
worst
hot.
film.
Alien vs Predator's not even that hot. Like, Predator's
It's-
hot, I guess, but not that hot. No, I'm kidding. But
yeah,
yeah.
so let's move on to the next film, Prometheus, which is a prequel. And we talked about this a bit last week, just sort of what the Alien franchise was going to be after Alien Resurrection, because they didn't, so this film, been in development for a long time, and it's it's a prequel. It's not a reboot. It is a prequel to the other Alien films,
Without the
which
name
I think is
Alien in the name, which is quite...
Yeah, it's not even called Alien Prometheus or whatever. It's just Prometheus. Which...
It didn't happen. But no, but it's not a terrible...
Okay, I was about to say, so not massively on board with it.
Not super, no. I feel like prequels tend to never land like they should.
I'm trying to think of films that are prequels. I mean, the recent Planet of the Apes films are technically prequels, although that's debatable because, I mean, they work as prequels, but they're also kind of a reboot.
At least with Prometheus, the film looks great. The shot for shot, like if you look at shots of the film, the way it's shot, the different editing styles, different I'd say sort of principles of principles of shooting a scene, like a dynamic, like different ranges and stuff, are very Ridley Scott. Especially if you have, did you watch The Martian since we last spoke?
I have not. No, I should.
So the sequel to this
one, I'll try and
it
watch
looks
it
shot for shot like The Martian. Things like using camera feed from the helmets and using those wide scoping. No one does that like Ridley does. Like with Ridley Scott creating a dystopic future, or at least a world in a fictional sort of, like he works so well with space and liminal space, and the Ridley Scott wide shot is iconic. Like it's almost his trademark. It's his producer tag. It's that Ridley Scott wide shot. You know, the extra wide shot. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The extra wide shot. Ridley Scott came back to direct this and Alien Covenant. I mean, I think we said this last episode, but Ridley Scott is a very good filmmaker. It's just that his films often...
And I like that he returns to the franchise as well. Something that he sort of built. That being said, I feel like this film, Prometheus, it falls really flat. It adds, at least from a storytelling perspective and a screenwriter perspective, a bunch of lore that Alien just doesn't need. And we talked about this on pretty much every sequel since we've spoken about the first film that we've covered. None of these have needed to be made. That being said, I didn't think it was unwatchable. I didn't hate it. It is incredibly gory. The body gore is quite full on with Ridley Scott, and I don't like it, but I like that it's returning to.
Yeah, it's going more down the horror route than the more action route. That
sci-fi, Star Warsy. Look at all this. Lore. I mean, there is a bunch of lore that no one gives a shit about. Respectfully, I don't care about the engineers. It's just not a...
I mean, I don't care about the characters,
That's mostly my piece on it. I feel like it looks amazing. It just...
I'll say that it's very well directed and put together. It's just that from a writing point, it doesn't work. There's like some problems with it. There's some issues with it. The characters make inexplicably stupid decisions, which is, I guess, a bit of a running theme for the Alien films, but also like that doesn't mean it's not a critique. Like, I can't criticize the film for doing that because you've still got characters who make really quite bad decisions who end up dying. And there's a lot of good actors in
Oh,
this
this is
film.
one of the dumbest. This is the dumbest crew to date. Actually, I think the second film's crew is dumber, but this is dumb crew. Idris Elba, I
Yeah.
like. It does have some alarmingly high, genuinely like A-list celebrity cast. I mean, you got Guy Pearce, Idris Elba, Charlize Theron,
Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really big cast, and I thought that there's some very weird bits like the bit because Michael Fassbender he plays he plays David, who's the android in this film, and he for some reason is wearing a suit on the planet, even though he doesn't need to wear a suit because he's an android. So he's just for some reason wearing a suit. Like it's a weird. Yeah, it's genuinely really bizarre to me. Like it doesn't. Yeah, it's really weird, and I'll say this: I think Michael Fassbender gives a very good performance. I'll say this: like Michael Fassbender is very good in this film. It is just a case of like the character. I don't know. It's just it's a very weirdly structured film. Like there's some great ideas at play, and the film was written by Damon Lindelof. He's probably best known for Lost, which I've never seen Lost, but people seem to
Its
like
cultural
it.
impact can't be understated. Yeah.
Yeah, even if
Although I've never seen
even
it.
if a lot of people, I've never seen it either, but I know a lot of people don't like the ending, or at least certainly they didn't like the ending. Maybe they like it slightly. Maybe they like it now. But it's very much So there was a script written by called Rod. I gotta look up his name again because I've forgotten what it was because he's not like a well-known writer or anything. It was written by a writer called John Spates, who he is. I'm just looking at what else he's done. He's a credited writer on He wrote Doctor Strange, the first one. Well, he's one of the credited writers on that anyway. But he's most recently wrote the Dune movies, which I'm not a fan of. But when they were making Prometheus, they noticed that he's never actually written a film that's come out. So they got Damon Lindelof on board to write a bunch of stuff. So they're both credited for it. And I think, the film's very, it's not like a bad, it's not. I don't think it's a bad film per se. It's just like the script is like the main thing that's letting it down.
Yeah. And
Like
the
it's
script,
it's a
I don't think,
well-made movie.
and I also think that the cast does a great, like they do what they can with the material. Obviously, because I actually saw this film before. I don't know when, but I know because I was in the middle of watching it, and I'm like, oh my god, I've seen Prometheus before, and I think it was with Matt. It was like a sleepover at a friend's house, and it was like one of those things that was just on.
Yeah.
But I watched this now, and I watched it recently, and Michael Fassbender looks so much like Anthony Starr in this film. It's insane. I'm like, oh, Homelander, cool. like it. An incredible comparison. I also feel like Anthony Starr would just add the perfect level of just unhinged fuckery to that role.
I've just
But I
looked him up,
feel
and
as
he
if,
kind of does. Yeah.
like, when he's holding the orb in that scene,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
as
I'm
if,
just looking. Yeah, he does have that Anthony Starr look.
like, that look in his eyes. And I
Mm.
think being, like, blonde in the film helps.
Yeah.
But it's, you've really got to care about the source material of, or like any of the deeper lore when it comes to things like the engineers. Because if you don't, you will find yourself just going, "Oh, this film is beautifully shot, but I don't give a shit about the story. The performances are what they're going to be in an Alien film." I feel like the second film's performances are better,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel as if the second film is a worse film, and we're talking about the second prequel.
Yeah.
So I think comparatively, if I'm thinking of this film in the scope of the other Alien films that we've ranked, say it's on
Mm-hmm.
par with the second or the third. I don't feel like it's distinctly better than Aliens. I still think
Yeah.
Aliens, at least, it's a hard one because I really don't hate it, but I just don't care. I don't care about any of the lore that Alien and the Alien IP presents me, which
Yeah.
is maybe a hold up with myself, but it stops me from getting involved in the film because once you start talking about engineers and all this, and I still feel like the premise of like living longer and asking them how is a great motivator, to be honest. That fear of death. I mean, look at the Harry Potter series. And I know this is a
Mm.
really weird avenue to go down, but Voldemort's whole thing is creating Horcruxes because of his fear of death. Like
Yeah.
the hunt for immortality is such a great antagonistic motivator.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was done well. The score in the second film I quite like.
Mm-hmm.
But it does its job. Like a 6.5, 7 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
6. This film, my biggest issue with it is it does nothing. If you watch the second prequel, it matters literally fuck all. They build off none of it. Like, this film exists almost as a standalone. Because, like, yeah, they reference the engineers in the second film, and it's kind of about that. But, like, they
Mm-hmm.
don't really take any of, like, the core principles. Or, you know how, like, there's the xenomorph at the end of the film? And, like, it's supposed to be, like,
Yeah.
the birth of Alien, but it's not really the birth of Alien. They got all these weird ruins, and it kind of plot twists itself and gets itself stuck within its own canon.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's why I give it a 6.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
why I give
I,
it
I
a
mean,
6.
I give it a 6 as well. Actually. Yeah. Yeah. It's very close to being great. It's just it doesn't fully work
It,
as a cohesive whole.
it lacks
And
as
so
a compelling narrative, yeah.
yeah, and then we move on to the final film of our retrospective with Alien Covenant, which is on the whole seen as quite poor. Like the general consensus says that Alien Covenant is not good. I'm just looking. Premiere is a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. For comparison's sake, Alien has 65%, so not that big a difference, but a lot of people do not like Alien Covenant.
I
Um,
I think I like it. I don't like it more than Prometheus. I can understand it is objectively a worse film.
mm,
That being said, and the alien, like the xenomorphs, I think look fucking awesome. Ridley Scott does
mm,
again another amazing job. If you when you watch The Martian after having watched this film, you will go,
mhm,
oh, okay, so this is 2012 to like 2019. Ridley Scott had this very specific style, especially when dealing with spacemen, helmets, and large scoping space areas. The Martian is such a beautifully, I think, shot and composed film with the soundtrack that it uses. And I feel like the
Yeah.
score in Alien Covenant can really grow on you. It almost feels like an interpolation of the first Alien film score.
Yeah.
That's all the good things. The rest of it is, this is the dumbest crew we've ever had. Danny McBride is incredibly jarring in an Alien film. So is James Franco. They're just like, seems like such a crazy cast that they've put together. Like, Michael
Yeah.
Fassbender returns, Amy Rapace returns, but like again, Danny McBride, Guy Pearce returns, but Danny McBride, James Franco are two notably jarring people in this film. I don't know about you, but it really took me out of it.
Um, yeah, no, it's very strange to see Danny, because like I'm aware of Danny McBride and of who he is and everything, and he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't fit in this
Danny
film.
McBride is the weird uncle with fireworks. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like he just doesn't fit in this
he's Seth
film.
Rogen's
Like
stoner
in terms
comedy.
of
He's not Alien, and that's, I hate to pigeonhole an actor, but he's not Alien.
I
He has range. If
yeah
you look at the Righteous Gemstones, like, yeah.
yeah
Sorry, I
it
just,
it
I got hyper focused on Danny McBride there.
yeah. I mean it's a yeah. I mean I'm gonna say something controversial. I think this is probably my second favorite Alien film behind the first Alien film, and I understand like the complaints. Like I get that like the crew are inexplicably really stupid. They make some really terrible mistakes. But I also think that simultaneously there's some great ideas at play. First of all, the poster, like like in terms of like like I don't know if you've seen the poster of the film, but it's a really just something about the visuals on that poster I really like. I mean, just in general, the visual. This film is very well made from a technical level, as is Prometheus. It's a very well directed film.
Are you
Yeah,
talking about the
performances.
xenomorph that's like on the jet? Is it like,
No, there's one which is like there's a xenomorph. There's like a bunch of different. Let me just find it. It's one where there's like a xenomorph and there's a bunch of like people in it's like a wall of people. There's
the
like
black
some
and white,
xenomorph in
like,
there. Yeah, they're like sort of climbing over each
yeah.
other. Like that's visually, I think that's really looking. I think Michael Fassbender gives an excellent performance in this. I think he's genuinely really great in this film. There is a scene that sort of occurs at a certain point because Michael Fassbender, there's two uh version and there's two versions of him in this. He's David and Walter, and there's a bit where one of them's where he's teaching him how to play the flute, which is like a very like a, a strangely homoerotic like it's a very weird scene in the sense of like
Yeah.
it's an interesting, but I didn't have any real problems with it. I thought that was it's odd. It feels slightly out of place, but I don't have any massive problems with it. I thought one of the best scenes in the film actually is there's a guy, he has like there's like a white xenomorph in this film, which I quite liked, and there's like a bit where one of the characters, he gets the xenomorph. He gets like a xenomorph in him, and there's this bit where this character locks another character in like a room to like quarantine them, like which is and like there's just a sense of panic from that scene that is like genuinely really well conveyed. You know, like like the characters make really terrible decisions, but yet simultaneously there is going but yet simultaneously, despite these stupid decisions, I did really enjoy the film. Like I had no like I could acknowledge that, but yeah, it didn't really bother me. It just visually, it's really great. I mean, Ridley Scott. We've said this before, but he's a great visual director. Just in terms of what he does, and there's just some great ideas at play. There's this. We find out that David has essentially killed a bunch of he exterminated an entire race of beings, which I thought was really just I thought that was really great. And then there's the sort of the ending sort of I guess reveal that because there's two Michael Fassbenders, as I said previously, and there's sort of this big reveal of is this David or is this the other one, and I really like this film. I know you are not. I just really liked this film.
I genuinely didn't hate it. I had a lot of fun watching it, to be honest. The gore, especially the body gore, it's hard for me to. It makes me uncomfortable. I just don't like. I'm just not a person for it. Some people are. Some people aren't. That being said, I don't think that it and that pulls me out of it. It makes, especially with alien films, it makes it really hard for me to sort of speak on, because that's what they're built off. But I still don't believe that this film was. I think that at least with the second one, because one, the crew is dumb, two, the virus is airborne or something. I just feel like they really gave the narrative. They also didn't build off anything in the first film, and you go, okay, well, maybe it's a new director, and they went with a different direction. No, they're both Ridley Scott. Ridley was just let's go with the stronger parts of the Alien franchise and just focus on that, shoe in another narrative that means nothing, because they mean nothing, and make a great-looking film that's engaging, but also just it. I think I appreciate it more because it's not Alien vs Predator. In the most disrespectful way to Alien vs Predator possible. I enjoy it comparatively, but I still don't I'd probably give it a 6. I'd probably say it's on par with Prometheus. I'd say that both the prequels, they do a pretty shit job of building on the world, but they look cool. And they don't, but they look cool.
Yeah,
and they ditched that prequel trilogy for good reason.
Yeah, they had planned. I think they talked about doing another prequel film, which I kind of wish we would still get, but I think it's probably dead now. Especially if Alien Romulus does well, because they do just kind of set up another one. I give this an 8 out of 10, which I think is very high. But I really, it's maybe a bit generous, but I genuinely, I really, really liked it. So before we wrap up, do you want to hear my ranking of the Alien films?
I would love to hear your ranking of the Alien films, William.
So from worst to best. So at the bottom, AVPR, Aliens vs Predator Requiem. It can't
valid.
That's pretty reasonable. Then I think it's AVP, Alien vs Predator, again pretty valid. Then Alien Resurrection, Alien Cubed, Prometheus, Aliens, Alien Covenant, and Alien at the top. So we are doing this. We did this 2-part to tie into the release of Alien Romulus, which will be out this week. So we'll discuss this more in the review of the year episode. Harry,
I think I agree with you. By the way, I think I completely agree with your rating. I just had to think about it for a second. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's alright.
anyone who doesn't have Alien at number one is insane.
Well, yeah, no. Alien is the best one, very easily. Yeah, so yeah, we're tying this into to Alien Romulus, which is out this week. Do you know anything about what this film is, Harry? Or
I've looked at the cast and I looked at the poster, which I thought was awesome. But I'm not going to really expose myself to this film a whole lot. I might watch it in cinemas. I might not, but I'm not gonna watch a trailer. I'll be honest.
I will say, don't watch the trailers. They show there's a lot that they show in the trailers,
and I'm not going to be keeping up with the sort of news on this film much at all. If it comes across my desk, it comes across my desk. But especially that one red poster with the face hugger, I feel like
I was just about to ask which was the poster
perfect.
you had seen. It is a great poster. Yeah, I really like that one. Yeah, I've seen the trailers. They show a lot. Like, they show a lot of stuff in the trailers, so like try to avoid the trailers if you can, because they do show a lot of things in it. Yeah, and you know, Fede Alvarez, who I'm a big fan of his work. I love his Evil Dead film. Don't Breathe, I really liked as well. So I'm looking forward to this. This is probably one of my most. This is one of the few films that like could end up. This is one of the films that could end up being my anticipated. And this has a very good chance of possibly being my favorite film of the year. Possibly, if it's done well, it could end up being my favorite of the year. I don't know yet, because I mean, there aren't any reviews out for it yet, and that doesn't mean I always agree with the reviews, but there's no real take on it. But yeah, so that is the end of this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed our Alien retrospective. Thank you, Harry, for joining me for this week's episode.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys all in the next one. I've got another big retrospective planned for the next couple weeks as well. So I hope you look forward to that, because it's gonna be a big retrospective. I mean, this was already big, covered 8 films in 2 episodes. So next it's gonna be a bit bigger than that. But anyway, thank you all for listening to this week's episode, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.